Hey guys, welcome to the show. Cyndi Williams, the Wanderlust CEO here. I have an amazing guest today, Miss Summer from Fantasy Works Travel. Summer, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so good. And you are a recent graduate of Careers on Vacation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does it feel good to be all graduated and have all that work behind you?
Yes, still a lot of work ahead, but there
Yeah.
always will be something to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a business owner, I always say it's never done. That's why it's like, we have that mindset stuff in there to keep you on pace and on track and all those good things. But thank you for being so generous and sharing your story with our audience today. Let's start with talking about where you were before taking Careers on Vacation and where you are now.
Yes. So I started back in January of last year, just a couple months before this crazy pandemic world that we're in today. And I all I really had was a dream. I didn't really have a direction. I kind of had this a lot of overwhelm with what do I do? I didn't really have a real support system to back me up and kind of give me the steps I needed. I just thought, hey, I'll just do some training to be a travel agent and I'll be good to go. And it really is a lot more than that. And so now I have, a great support system with the groups and with your team that I've been working with. But I also have like this great toolbox full of knowledge of what actually works and
Wow.
how I can implement it into making my business successful and putting everything into place, which is really like the backbone of what I needed to get a really good start and kind of get going. So yeah.
I love that. And it's because you don't want to run in circles for 5 years in your business going, what has worked? Let me test this. Let me chase this shiny thing and figure all the things out. I love that
Right.
toolbox analogy because that's what we always say in class. We like to give you a toolbox and just let you know, like, don't waste your time on this other stuff. Like, focus on these things because we know what translates and what converts. So I love that. Summer, what's been your biggest win or celebration since taking the program?
Well, for me, I've always been super camera shy. And I think my biggest win was just overcoming my fear of just being on video and even just being on the phone talking to people. Because when I initially started my business before going through the program, I'd actually started about 9 months before I began Careers on Vacation. And so everything prior to that was all like email. I didn't want to meet people. I didn't want to really talk to them on the phone because that just made me nervous. And I just had all this anxiety about that. And so going through this program has really boosted my confidence to where, I'm not afraid. And I even, have people that'll like send me a Facebook message. Oh, hey, can I get a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, schedule a consultation. Like I immediately direct them there so that, I can make that sell, which is so much more important when you're on film with somebody. Like you can interact with them in a better way. And so I really feel like just being on camera and video is probably the biggest thing that I've gotten out of it, just my confidence level.
I love that so much. And that one, that doesn't come up. I think it's like kind of a given that it's in the program, but I love that you brought that up because you're not the only one. We hear, we're on those calls together every week. And so we hear where people are struggling, where they need to work past. And good sales, right, is about connecting, building rapport, how you present that proposal, how you close the deal. And that's not going to happen in an email world. That's why some people are like, why did I email them? And then people are ghosting me. So understanding that there's things you can do, levers you can pull, getting comfortable on video is one piece of the pie, of course. And not just, we talk about it a lot from a marketing perspective because video is a real escalator in marketing and growing your business. But you're right, it's just as important in operations because once you're good at that and connecting with people, we know the data for any business is people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And so, how do you bridge that gap in this world where we're all working online, right? So, I love
Mhm.
that. I think that's a huge celebration and will be a twofold win leveraging video for marketing and in operations. So, good for you, Summer. That's amazing. And you were part of
Yep.
our video challenge, of course. So, I love that. How did the mindset work in the program? If you're watching the video, guys, for the first time, we have a pillar or cornerstone in our program, which is we want people to start thinking like business owners and also how to kind of strip away some old beliefs so they can envision themselves in this new lives that they're creating for themselves. So Summer, how did the mindset work impact your life or business as you went through the program?
Well, mindset was definitely probably my second biggest win.
Mm,
I have always kind of been more of a negative person, just like a pessimist, like always looking to what can go wrong, and so that was always huge for me. And Brandon was great. Like his energy that he just brought to every call was just such a motivation
yeah.
to me. And it really kind of just helped me like refocus my negative energy into a positivity and how that can change my entire life, not just my business.
Yeah.
But I'm also a mentor to young teen girls with my church, and it has been drastically different with them because
Mhm.
as a teenager they go through so many things that their mindset really affects like how they're successful going into college, and they're getting ready to graduate. And so that has really been like I find myself constantly saying, hey, we need to change your mindset about how you're looking at this. And so
Love
it's
that.
really just been something that's completely flipped my outlook on everything going on with like COVID and like the election and like all this stuff that's going on in the world today. It's been like the best time that I could have possibly like went through a mindset type training.
Oh,
So it's been great
that.
just for everything in general. So
You're giving me all the goosebumps because I love when people share a story. Like, we know it's going to help your business and your personal life, but we had a coach on last year, kind of the same thing. And he was a high school coach that was taking what he learned in the program and taking it out in the world. And that just touches my heart as like a coach in general, because if you get it right, it doesn't just change your business, it changes your life. And if you
mhm.
are serving others in some way, the things that you learn, like, spread the word, guys, because there's no abundance, there's no lack, there's only limiting beliefs in here. So I love that, taking that to the youth and kind of, helping them reshape, because they have a lot of like messages coming in, especially like when I grew up. And I don't know about you, but like, we didn't grow up with Instagram and with Facebook and with all these freaking filters that make people look, you know, more beautiful, which is ridiculous, right? So what I feel like what the kids are dealing with today, it's like, oh, you got to strip through so much stuff to get to the core of like, who do you want to be in the world? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to serve? So kudos to you, Summer, for taking that to the next level and just really going, hey, I got some new, I know more now, and I'm going to share it with the world. I love that. That might be my favorite case study we filmed this week. Um, Walk me back to the beginning. And I love that you mentioned that sometimes I have a tendency to go, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? So I imagine when you were thinking about careers on vacation, talk to me about what that process was like. Did you have to overcome any hurdles? How did you talk yourself into it when you knew you needed it? Like, you were out there kind of, floating and as a travel agent 9 months before, but going, oh, wow, this is more than I thought. But when you got to that point where you needed us, knowing that that's your normal mindset, what process did you go through to get to the finish line of starting with us?
Well, my biggest hurdle was me, just because of that whole negativity piece of it. But I am such a huge researcher that I will research something to death. Just spend
Love it.
hours upon hours upon hours. I watched videos for 9 months. My daughter had like 2 hours of dance practice every night. So I'd sit in the car and I'm like watching videos. And just, that was even before I decided to become an agent.
Yeah.
And then we had COVID and all of that.
Mm, yeah.
And just like trying to learn everything. I had what I needed to know within the first few videos, but it's making that step and convincing myself that I needed
Yeah.
to invest in my business
Hmm.
because it was something I felt like I could do on my own. Yeah, I could do that. I could research, I could figure it out.
Yeah.
And I talked to my husband so much about it that like your name almost became a curse word in my house. He was always like, you just need to do it. So he has been my biggest encourager and motivator of just my support system of you just need to do it.
Yeah.
And what have you got to lose?
Yeah, like,
And
I think as women, right? Like, we think of it like, oh, we're spending money on ourselves versus investing in my business and making that switch. Like, I think for men, And I can't speak for all men. I'm not a man, but like sometimes I'll go to my husband too and go, I think we should do this thing. He's like, why are you asking me? Like, just go do it. Like, if you know you need it for the business, just go do it. It's much more cut and dry for them, but it's emotional, especially like if you have kids or like it's one of those things. But the way I like to think about it is for the price of like one really nice vacation, you can then sell thousands of vacations, right? I love that.
Yeah, and I had some setbacks too. Like I had some issues with my name, like after I got everything going, my initial name.
Yeah.
And I had some problems with that I had to kind of face head on and figure out what I was going to
Remember.
do. And if I would have taken the step to join Careers on Vacation prior to those problems, I feel like I could have probably got through that a little easier and had kind of more of a direction of what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And so that was a real challenge for me. And it took me all the way working through the program because I had issues with changing everything on YouTube and getting everything set up again after the fact. So, it really helped me.
I'm glad you brought that up because so many times people will say, well, I'm going to try to figure it out on my own first. That's fine. Go if you want to go that route. But the number one thing we have on like our surveys, one of the most thing in the comment section is we have people say, I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have started with you from the beginning. I would be so much further because trust me, guys, setting this up, whether you're DIYing it or you're taking our program to do it right from the beginning, it is no small task to get an agency that's relevant online and doing all those pieces. It is much harder to do it twice. Go through the process 6 or 9 months in. I always say it's not the questions that you ask, it's the questions you don't know to ask. Like, how would you know these things if you've never run an agency before, if you've never had a travel business before? How can you be expected to know the hundreds and hundreds of things that you need to know to do it effectively, efficiently, and get to that success part a little bit faster? So I love that you brought that up. Summer, you're bringing up some ones that hardly ever come up on these case studies, and I'm loving that because this is so true as far as like, especially like during COVID, right? Because it was such a crazy time. I mean, because you were in the mastermind. It was like mindset overdrive because everyone was like, I'm having a down day. I'm And even the experienced agents who've sold millions of dollars were like, how do I pivot? How do I whatever? So I love that we're, kind of coming out of that chaos now, but with the tools that you have to move forward. So that's awesome. So Summer, if you're talking to the people out there who are in their car while the kids are at gymnastics or at Taekwondo, and they're like, wow, I've been watching, they're talking about Cyndi with their husbands or whatever. They know that they need this. What would you say to that person who is in similar shoes that you were in when you decided to do the program?
Just do it. I mean, you need to do your research. Sure. That's important when jumping into any kind of, financial investment, do your research. But once you know in your mind, like, this is what I really need, just jump in and do it. I mean, it's not something that you're going to look back on and say, oh man, I really wish I wouldn't have done that. Like, you're going to get, whether it's being comfortable on camera or changing your mindset or overcoming hurdles or just having the tools you need, like, you're going to get all of that and you're going to be able to be successful in your life, but also in your business.
I love that. Yeah. And guys, if you are out there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that sounds like my story, that's exactly kind of where I'm feeling right now, a little bit lost. I need to kind of get to that place where you can play it bigger and up level your business. I want to encourage you to just do what Summer did and book a discovery call. You can actually go to careersonvacation.com/ready now, and we'll talk to you about your goals to understand if it's a match to work together. One of the reasons why we have the most highly reviewed program in the travel industry, we have more video case studies, over 100 now, than any other travel program, is we don't work with people we can't help. Right? If we can help you, then we're going to say, great, let's move forward. And if not, we're still going to give you some great tips and you can kind of, go on into the world. And of course, we wish everyone love and abundance. But Summer, thank you so much for sharing your story today. I think it's going to really hit home for a lot of people who are in those same shoes of just figuring out how to really do this travel business in a big way, the right way, more efficiently. So we are here for you. You're just heading over to our grad group. You're not going too far, and we're going to be your cheerleader for life. So I'll see you over in the grad group. Thank you for sharing your story today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye. Hey guys, Cyndi Williams here. If you like that last video, make sure you check out my other content to help you grow and scale your very own travel business. And also, I invite you to travel around the world with me and find out what I'm doing in my portable, profitable, award-winning travel business. Check out the videos.